There was a rumor out that yourself and Bernard Purdie replaced Ringo after the Rubber Soul
Never,
albums, and
never, never,
that didn't
never. That's
happen.
a terrible rumor that Bernard Purdie somehow started telling people he was actually the Beatles drummer, and he wasn't. And he doesn't tell that story anymore. And as a matter of fact, when Ringo did his first vocal album, he called me in, and I did his first vocal album. But I don't really know Ringo. And Ringo read the opening to my book, and which is called The Wrecking Crew. And he sent me a note, and he said, "Hal, thanks for the Tom, 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 Tom."
Oh, that's a great story.
Which was brilliant. It was brilliant, and it was used in the book too, in the foreword, I think.
Now, we've both played with an artist in common, Gary Lewis and the Playboys. I toured with Gary.
Sure.
Anything memorable about the Diamond Ring session?
Well, it's very memorable for me because I was in New York with Simon and Garfunkel, and I was doing some of their stuff, and I happened to walk into Cartier, the jewelers, famous jewelers, and I spotted a ring that looked almost identical to Dean Martin's ring. It was a beautiful, beautiful ring. And it was a diamond in the middle and two little small diamonds on each side, trapezoid diamonds, and a pretty good size. It was about 2.5 carats, and I loved the ring, and I bought the ring, and I wore it home. And that was on a Saturday or a Sunday, or Friday or a Saturday, rather. I flew home Sunday. Monday morning, I went in to work on Gary Lewis and the Playboys, and the first thing I walk in, and there's Tedesco sitting there looking at the music, and I walk over to Tommy, and I say, "Tommy, you're not going to believe this, but Tommy and I had a way of putting each other on. If I bought something, he bought something bigger. If I bought something small, he bought something smaller." And I walked over and I showed him I'm flashing my new diamond ring, and I said, Tommy says, "That's beautiful. God, that is really pretty." Then I turn around, and there's the music sitting in front of us, this diamond ring.
Oh, that's
and that was the song we were recording that day. I mean, really coincidence. And so Tommy, in his comedic way, reaches into his wallet, pulls out a $100 bill, wraps it all up and around, puts it on his finger, his ring finger, his little finger, and he said, "Yeah, I got a new ring too, look." And of course, that was the joke of the day, was that we're doing this, we're playing this diamond ring, and of course, I had a new diamond ring. I still have that ring. I love that ring.
Oh, that's neat. And how was it working with Gary?
Gary was fine. Gary watched. Gary is one of the few guys out there today, unfortunately, that tells everyone he made his own records. But unfortunately, he didn't. The guys in the band did not play. I mean, there are many stories that the guitar players went to Tommy and said, "My God, I could never play those runs. I could never do these kind of things." And Tommy would say, "If you do it slow and learn it, you'll learn it." And they would. You know, it was great fun. Jimmy Keltner was always there with us, watching. Jimmy, I think, went on the road for a while with Gary.
Yeah, I think he played drums on Just My Style.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think he did. Well, with Snuff Garrett in the studio, you also had Leon Russell in there, too.
Leon was always Leon was the arranger.
How old was he at the time? I've always wondered that.
Well, Leon was just a young guy. This is before beards. This is before long hair. Leon, unfortunately, I guess he had been a victim of polio, and he kind of had a gimp, he dragged one foot, sort of, or leg. And he was very quiet, rarely said 3 words. And he happened to hit it off with us, with Phil Spector, and Phil loved his work. He did all that high, tinkling country stuff, and so Leon was always with us, and he's just the greatest guy in the world. He was just terrific. Never minded his own business. He rarely said 2 words, except one time he got plastered and jumped up on his piano and started screaming like he was a minister or something. It took everybody completely by shock. I remember that Cher happened to be there singing backgrounds, And she was completely shocked. Everybody was. This was the quiet Leon Russell, who never said 3 words, came in, had a couple of drinks or something for lunch, whatever it was, and got drunk. And it didn't mean anything. I mean, he was immediately back the next day or the next week, the next Friday that we worked. That was just Leon.
Now,
Leon's terrific man. You'd have to know him.
Did you also do a lot of live touring? I mean, you're busy in the studio. Did you get to go out and tour with any artist?
Well, I never really did. My secretary, if I was on the road, she would always say he's not available that day. That she never told anyone I was on the road. But I did go out with Jan and Dean in the early days.
And how was working with Jan and Dean?
Oh, it was great. It was wonderful. It was, they were just wonderful, wonderful guys. And all the records that we did were always 2 drummers on the records, myself and Earl Palmer, the great drummer who was a very dear friend, got me going in the business. Earl was one of the first guys to come along playing a little rock and roll, and he got so busy that he started recommending me. I started working with Sam Cooke and all these various artists and so forth, and the word got around real quick, and all of a sudden I was an entity, and people were hiring me. And so I would go out. When I did go out, when I did a tour with Simon Garfunkel, and we did their television show, it was a big musical thing that turned out to be a big dramatic thing. Who else? I mean, I was working also as an actor. I worked in a Steve McQueen movie. Glenn Campbell and I were Steve McQueen's, we were his honky-tonk country band.